Cause I'm about that. Cause I'm about that.
I'm about that come up, running up on them fools that are talking foolish. Try to get them funds up, killing the mics just like I ran at Jules. And y'all gonna get done up front and on that kid with an attitude. But you can't really blame this motherfucker, do what he had to do. I'm about that cash flipping, I'm getting it on and off the market. Not about that VIP, not me, not never been a fan of carpets. All about that RIP for all of my Jesus gone departed. All about that business when I started, I'm about that.
Top down all night, you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night. Down all night, you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night.
Nothing about it, want a man I can bring the drama. But it ain't by chance I'm fucking rapping, you don't want a problem. Made a little cash in the back end, but still rapping like homie starving. Yeah, y'all gotta ask who the man is, hope I'm gonna be like, beg your pardon. Homie, I'm about that.
Top down all night, you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night. Down all night, you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to a Tuesday edition of the Ysn Power Hour. DJ Yoakley, Billy Mack, Richie Giuliano, Mikey McNuggies McKenzie, then you've got Eric Bailey, Paul Munson, Quinn Pushkar, and notorious Jamie Thompson. Boys, it is Tuesday. We went over all the scores from the weekend yesterday. We had a great show, top five, and a lot of our opinions. Billy Mack, you said it, and we got great feedback from that show, so let's see if we can put another one at the top of the charts. And let's start with the same thing we do each and every day. Today, it is National Train Your Brain Day. What is the hardest subject you had in school to train your brain that maybe you still have difficulty with today? Billy Mack, what was the toughest for you?
Probably anything to do with like a short story. Like read a story and then kind of describe the story and kind of write an essay on it. That was probably something that was difficult for me.
What about you, Richie? What was the toughest part for you, training your brain?
Math, no doubt math. Any math subject I was just horrible at. It took me hours to study, and I could never figure out the equations and like the sine, cosine, like x. Like it was a mess for me. I was trying to get at math.
McNuggies, what's the subject you run away from right now?
Science. I absolutely hate science, which is kind of ironic because both my parents are absolute science geeks. So I did not get that gene from either of them.
EB, how about you? What was the one that you couldn't stand?
I'm with Richie, man. Math, especially stats. Like, I don't understand it. Don't see the point to it. Never was going to use it. Math is the devil.
It's the devil, Bobby. Heading over to Munson. Out of everything, this ought to be good. What was your least favorite?
Study hall teacher.
Yeah, study hall. Study hall was my worst. No, chemistry. I was not very good at like chemistry and figuring that stuff out. I was sometimes a little more concerned with other chemistry instead of that stuff. So mixing some cocktails up instead of doing that.
This one ought to be fun. Quinn, your least favorite or toughest subject in school?
Any like English, anything involving English, like whether it's reading, writing. God help me on like the grammar rules, like commas, semicolons, all that stuff. I have no idea when to use a semicolon. So anything like that, no clue.
And that's why you can decipher the language of Jeff Bezos for us so well. Let's go to Jamie Thompson. Jamie, what was your bugaboo in high school, maybe even in college? What's the one subject you steer away from?
I'll stick with Richie and EB. Definitely calculus. I'm in Calc 3 right now, and I hate it completely.
Aren't you an engineer?
Well, yeah, but Calc, it's like to rewire your brain. Like you really don't need Calc that much to be an engineer. They just do it because it's supposed to rewire your brain, so it sucks.
It's all those math rules and stuff.
Yeah, anything math I shy away from. Like that's my wife is fantastic with it. She loves it. So I just kind of slide papers over to her and say, go at it. Anything with words or verbal or anything like that, English, I'm all in on. Loved spelling going into it and just could not get behind math. Yeah, we know, Paul. We know you don't like spelling or punctuation or grammar in general. So it is
English.
National Training. What was that?
Or English.
Or math. Really, all the subjects for Paul.
I mean, that's
He's
why
gone.
I became a study hall teacher.
He gone. He said, I'm not taking this anymore from you chumps. Again, we talked about it yesterday. We had a great show. A lot to talk about. We talked about lowering the GPA, why it could be good, why it could be bad. I had a coach, just for the record, had a coach kind of dive in. He will remain nameless, gray face on this show for the time being. But he said, I've got a hot take on this. And honestly, it kind of struck a chord with me because he went the other way. He went the way of, because of what happened in the spring, there was very little eyes on academics. It turned, like Paul said yesterday, it turned into pass-fail. And it gave an opportunity for maybe some kids that didn't play football or didn't play sports in the fall to try things out without having to necessarily have the grades up to scale. And in this particular instance, the young man didn't have a great history of his family, getting the academic success that was needed to move on. And this young man took advantage of being able to play football 1 year, and now he's in the classroom doing well. He's in study halls. He's in study tables, I should say. He's meeting with a guidance counselor. There is another angle to it. There's another lens always, right? So yesterday, a great conversation. We all were on the same page about, not lowering the GPA, but, rising up to meet it. And that's one instance that I guess we didn't look at or we didn't consider is the GPA not necessarily always being lowered, but kind of free for all that has occurred here in the last 6-7 months has done some good for some kids. And now they understand why academics are so important because, if you don't get the grades, you're not going to play. And if it's that important to you, you'll make it work. So kudos to that coach for chiming in yesterday. And guys, I got to admit, I'm kind of surprised and overwhelmed by some of the feedback we get. Another great show yesterday, about 2,000 viewers on our website, on social media. We had a nice high mark because that's the way people kind of digest it sometimes. But we still have a lot of people on the website. 2,000 folks chiming in yesterday and watching the Power Hour. So thank you to all of you for what you do. We're just a bunch of goons trying to put a show together and talk sports because that's what we love to do. And it's not going to change today because today we're going to start with a red hot topic, one that I've been hearing all over the place. Should the OHSAA in football keep 7-week seasons? Obviously, in years past, 10-week seasons and 5 playoff weeks. Do you like the way things are set up? Do you like 7 weeks or 6 weeks in the regular season and then I guess I should say 6 weeks to be honest with you. Do we like this 7-week season or 6-week season in football? Yes or no? And we'll start with Billy Mack. Is he muted? He is muted.
Yes,
Sorry,
he is
Go
muted.
ahead. How is he? You're muted. You muted yourself.
Well, that happened.
Backfire.
I thought it was you because I didn't know we were having issues earlier. I didn't know if I fixed it with my pods or not. But this is the same basic layout for PA. I like it to a degree. I like having more teams in the playoffs. I don't really like any of the buys. I think the buys are a waste of time. But I really do like more teams in the playoffs. I like some upsets and some opportunities for some of these other smaller schools to kind of get in. I mean, being from a small school, we always had really good records. Our conference was so hard. We were the smallest school in our conference by far. I mean, we were this was before the breakups. We were a D5 team playing 3 Division II teams, playing D3 and D4 teams, and we were the only D5 team in our conference. So if we didn't go 8-2, we weren't getting in. and chances of us going 8-2, we probably weren't going to get in anyway. And if we got in, we were going to host a playoff game. But it was just so difficult. So I like the opportunity to get in a little bit more teams going forward. So I do like it.
Richie, how do you feel about this playoff system, how it's set up, the 6 weeks, and then into the playoffs you go? Teams are able to opt out at any time. Well, I shouldn't say any time, up to a certain point. Richie, how do you feel about this?
Well, I think the situation that occurred this year with the OHSAA and obviously with the coronavirus, I think they handled it perfectly. I think the 6-week season fits this year's model and, allowing everybody to get into the postseason because they only played 6 games. But going forward, I'd like to go back to that 10-week season, 1, because it's more football, and 2, because you have the ability to schedule out of conference and either, sometimes weaken or strengthen your schedule, which in the end, in the polls and brackets means a lot if you have a good schedule. So I think 10 weeks, you are allowed to play your whole conference plus the 3 or 4 weeks that you schedule out of conference. So I do like the 10-week schedule for next year.
Yeah, but if you with scheduling and getting into the playoffs, if you had more teams in because of playing less games, wouldn't that be okay too? It's not like in years past where teams went 10-0 and then missed the playoffs because their schedule was so weak. If you play a 6-game schedule and you go undefeated, you still have a pretty good chance to get in the playoffs because more teams are going to be in there.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
They can tweak it a little bit to make it better, but I actually really enjoy what they did. I didn't think I would. I like the 6 weeks of regular season, and then everybody goes in. One of our topics is going to be computer points versus coaches vote. Do we like?
I like the idea of if you lose in the playoffs, you can finish out a 10-week season.
I think that's good. I think that because it sets up some rivalries down the lane for some teams that aren't necessarily state championship caliber for that purpose. But it's interesting nonetheless. As Paul Munza rejoins us, maybe getting there. And while he does, we're going to go to Quinn and get his take. Quinn, your thoughts on the playoff system as it is? Can you see the OHSA continuing this, or is this going to be a one and done for them?
For me, it's tough because I see both sides of it, and honestly, either way, like it kind of doesn't matter to me. Like I like the concept of 7 games or the 7-week season or whatever, but then, like Billy said, I like how you can finish out the thing to where you can still get 10 games. But then I'm thinking to myself, well, then why not just play 10 games, and then you get the whole thing of, like Billy said, when you're 10-0 and you might not even make the playoffs, sort of thing. That there's a lot more things that need, I guess, figured out in that case, to where I can make a better decision, I guess. But like for me, like either way, I think it can work. I don't know which way to lean yet, depending on some of the other factors.
McNuggies, it's been a big year for Beaver Local. When you look at this, do you feel like this kind of favors teams like Beaver Local to be able to go into the playoffs, run the bracket, and if you slip up, you're still got a couple games that you can play? Or do you like the 10-week season where it's computer points, you get into the playoffs if you earn it? If not, tough luck.
I'm kind of like Quinn in the fact that I'm conflicted on which one I want because obviously, yeah, you got that 10-week season. If you want to finish it out, then why not play the 10 games in the first place? Maybe in the future you do something meet in the middle, You do a 10-week season, but instead of computer points and 8 teams, maybe you give the top 4 teams a bye. I know Billy Mack's going to hate this, and then add 4 extra teams, and you're probably never going to see a 10-0 team miss the playoffs and a 12 team. And then I don't know if you go with computer points or you let the coaches continue to vote on those 12 teams, but I think I want to see something kind of in the middle. I'm not going to lean one way or the other because they're both great formats and great to watch high school football in.
EB, this ought to be right in your wheelhouse, a situation where you're really good at deciphering, A versus B. Where do you lean on this one?
I'm kind of with you. I didn't think I would like it at first, but the more that I think about it, it actually worked out well. Because if you break it down and you just keep the league and you play these league games like you did, or even independent, and you kind of have your set games, then it gives you more of an opportunity to get into the playoffs. Now, my understanding is next year they were going to move to 12 teams anyways.
Correct.
So you take that into play, but I like it, and I know we'll touch on this later, to where if you play whatever six games and then week 7 is your playoffs, that you can still continue your 10-week, I guess, or 10 games. So if you don't make it to week 10 and whatnot, you can still pick up some games, which I feel that benefits some teams, especially if you take a team like, for instance, East Palestine this year. They got beat up for the past 2 years because a lot of times these schedules are set 2 or 3 years in advance. And it might have been a blessing in disguise to where, you're just looking to build on something. And they got to go play a caliber team that might be in their wheelhouse right now, probably won't be years to come, and then get another one this week and potentially the week after, to where you're looking for small victories for these kids. And there's multiple other small schools around the state where, we'll take even, who was it, St. John's last week. Yeah, they ended up losing, but that's a better fit game for them than going on to play, whoever might be in that situation. And plus, you can still keep rivals, and hopefully it brings more rivals back. Like, I would have loved to see this, and even though Columbia and Crestview isn't in the same league anymore, but hopefully that regenerates that football rival, because that was a great backyard rival. And then, coming down how you figure out the playoffs, whether it's points or coaches, I still think you go points, because that's what a lot of people are going to base it off of. And, I get it. Coaches are busy, this and that, but just about every other school or every other sport, votes on stuff like that when it comes down to it. So you kind of got to, what McNuggy said, he kind of got to find an equal medium on that one.
And we'll dive in a little bit deeper in the next segment about coaches' votes versus computer points. But Jamie, how do you feel about how the playoffs have gone so far? Is this favorable to you? Do you like this now that you've seen a week of it, or would you rather see 10 weeks and 5 playoff weeks?
I rather would see the 10 regular season weeks the way it's always been. That's just how I've always known it. I like it that way.
Sure.
I think they've done a tremendous job with the format they have this season. I mean, there's not a lot of time to get these games done, so go ahead and let everyone in this year. But I don't like that as much for just every year. I like when the regular season means more, and I like being able to schedule out a conference, kind of like Richie said. I mean, I faced off against Bayside or Bay Village. I apologize. We played Norway. And we just go out, we find these teams, and I always enjoyed that kind of aspect. And when you kind of just let the coaches vote, and you have to be like, hopefully you face someone you've never faced before, because that's just kind of cool to do. I don't enjoy that as much as, just knowing that you're going to go out and play somebody that you've never faced. And really, like I said, the regular season, I feel like it just means that much more. And from a player perspective, you get to see week to week, like when we face off against, I don't know, Howland out of conference, and they were D3, we were D4. That just means so much more. So you have to grind and really get a victory that week.
Paul, interested for your take because you're an old school soul and you like things kind of the way they always have been. But I feel like you're digging this playoff a little bit. Where are you standing right now?
I don't mind what they did this year. I think they had to do what they did this year, just because of everything going on with COVID and everything. They needed to do what they did. Do I like it? I don't like it. I think you have some teams that had no business being in the playoffs. You didn't see any of those first round, us against the world beaters and going out and beating somebody that they shouldn't have. So
Cheney.
But see, again, we look at Cheney. Cheney wasn't a team that their record was a little bit different. And if you give them a full season of 10 weeks, I think they would have earned the right to make it into the playoffs in a regular season and not have to worry about only playing 6 games. So I'd like to go back, to the 10-game season, because, you look at, and EB hit on it with the rivalry. The rivalry game that everybody in this area wants to see, and not just because I'm a homer, but it's a game that happens every year that didn't get to happen this year, was your South Range Springfield. Your two teams that
They could have played last week.
What's that?
They could have played last week. They both were off.
Billy, be quiet. That's garbage. So, you could have had you have those two teams that have played every year, usually week 1, and it would have been a great team to see this year. But you're not going to see that. Go back to the 10 games. They expanded it to 12 teams, and I think that was actually going to take place this year if COVID didn't hit. The 12 teams was going to happen this year, but
I think so.
And to piss Billy Mack off even more, if you look at the 12 teams, I think the way they were going to do it too was your top 4 teams were going to get a bye, because you'd have 8 play, and then by round 2 you're down to 8, and then you go
What
from
does
there.
the bye do for anybody? Like, I mean, I know it's a week of rest, but that's the only argument I've heard on that side. I mean, you ask coaches if they want to play or they want a bye, they're going to say this isn't
they
the
wanna
NFL.
play.
They want to play.
Yeah, they want to play, but the bad thing is you're dealing with the OHSAA, which we all know and we've talked about for weeks, is all about the money. The more teams they can get in the playoffs, the happier they are. So if they're going to get 12 teams in now instead of 8, well, you can't play 12 in 1 week, because the next week you've got 6, then you're down to 3. Then math doesn't work out. You've got to give buys there somewhere. So now 8 go in, 4 wait, 4 move on, 8 play, and you just move down the line.
So here's
Then drop it down to an 8 regular season game and do 16.
Yeah, I think that's the way you got to go. I think you got to go 16, and that's probably what they're trying to do here is get somebody to go, oh, they should just do 16. Oh, that's a great idea. It's your idea. We've seen this before. We know how this
But then
story
you're
ends.
going to have schools hopefully will start pushing back, because schools aren't going to want that, because you're going to say you only get 8 regular season games. Dear Lord,
What is that? Ah, Billy Mack again. Mack
Yep.
truck.
If you cut the regular season down to 8 games, now you've taken away a home game from these schools. Instead of having 5 home games, they're only going to have 4.
You've also taken a road game away from them.
Yeah, and a road.
So
game.
you give them the 2 extra games just like you're doing now. It's the same thing.
Where do you give them their 2 extra games at, though?
So if
When
you
they
don't-
get eliminated.
if you don't make the playoffs, then you can
You don't get eliminated.
Yeah, but then again, you're hoping to sit there and say, well, we hope some other teams that are comparable to us don't play or get eliminated for us to wait around and wait for something.
Yeah,
Go
I
to
think
10.
it's not going to happen when a 1 seed plays a 16.
Yes.
Yeah, but how often is that 16 team going to say, well, maybe we'll play another game? It's hopes and prayers that you're sitting there
You
doing
just saw it the past 3 weeks here.
It's true. And that's, you want to talk about compromise. That'd be the best compromise there is in that situation, because the OHSAA gets their teams in, and you get 8 games where typically if you want 2 more.
The Mack truck is back.
I love how he just looks away. like,
It ain't me.
Not me.
Not me.
No, but reality is that's the perfect compromise.
And it's not going to be the kids. You think the schools and athletic directors are going to say, no, we don't want these games. We don't want to make money for our school anymore. Well, yeah, they're going to load it up. As if you let these guys get 4 more extra games, they're going to do it.
And a lot of teams are going to sit there and go, well, if I can get 2 home games to finish out the season, that doubles what I'm usually getting from a revenue standpoint. So you can end up with, essentially, you could really end up with 6-7 home games in a season if you play your cards right.
Yeah. Well, I'd like it to go back to the 10 games. And, if they're going to put 12 in the playoffs, that's what they've already said, then that's what it's going to go to. And, just go back to that. And I honestly think go back to the computer point rankings too, because.
Well, wait a minute. Whoa. That's the next segment. Just pump your brakes. Billy living in the middle of Trucktown, USA.
This guy is over here weed whacking, and then he stops to take a smoke break, and then he goes back to it. Just finish the damn job.
That
That's
being
what
brought
I
to you
do.
by G. Burbick Farms. Visit them on the web at gburbickfarms.com. I don't know. I'm torn, and I don't want to ride the fence on this. I want to be able to pick it, but I think EB has the perfect solution to this. In doing an 8-game season and 16-team playoff, I think that would work, and I think it'd be perfect, because then you can, some of those fringe teams that don't necessarily, and I know I'm going to hear it from other people, well, you have to earn the right to the playoffs. Well, listen, let's just be honest. Sometimes it's a little bit dicey with some divisions, and this would make it so fringe teams made the playoffs, and maybe even some teams got into the playoffs that didn't deserve, right, according to Paul, to be in the playoffs. But we've seen teams that didn't deserve to get in the playoffs go in and do damage. So I live for that stuff. I mean, what day do you watch most in the NCAA tournament? You watch the first couple days because you're waiting for upsets. That would be perfect for the OHSAA. That'd be perfect.
Plus, there's the most amount of games those days too, though. So like you just turn the TV on, it's just game after game after game after game.
Don't care.
Great. Bigger
Don't
chance
care.
for the UMBC to emerge. Bigger chance for the Middle Tennessee, Florida Gulf Coast to emerge.
Good point.
So
I'm just saying that's why you tune in those first couple.
No, I
days.
tune in for the upsets. I don't care who's playing. I mean, that's not what I just tune in and I'm watching and I'm like, okay, I want to see this because listen,
Or
you're
'cause everybody's
watching
got
the
a
game,
bracket, too.
but you're also watching the score, the ticker at the top, and you're saying, okay, this is going to be an upset. I need to flip it over to this channel. Like that would be perfect for something we do on Audible Call, right? So there's going to be a 16 over a 1. Make sure you tune into that game. Let's get a better look at that game as opposed to where we have it now is you're broken up over Fridays and Saturdays. I would love to have it just on Fridays, and just let it roll because Saturday. I mean, listen, you're killing the entire week with 2 games. A lot of us are okay with it. Like I would prefer if they go Thursday, Friday, and Saturday because we can have our announcers do 3 games a week, right? And we can put our top guys out there. But reality is they're not going to do that. They're not going to go up against other sports. They're just not.
Right. Well, and you think really that if you start looking, we were looking today at the calendar, look at like October 31st, which is Halloween, obviously for one, and look at some of these Saturday night games. What division picks back up next Saturday?
Quinn, any guesses?
it's called a conference, and it's the Big
Conference,
Ten.
whatever. McNuggies, I'm telling you. Ohio
Better than
State.
Florida State.
And then what happens on October 31st?
Oh, God.
They play Penn State. It's going to be a night game.
Who
So you,
cares? Like,
I will bet money Fox
there
picks
are
that up
people
at
who are gonna
noon.
care.
What people are going to care?
A lot more than you think.
They're going to care about what, Paul?
What I'm saying is it's going to probably benefit us because they're going to stay at home and watch the Penn State game instead of going to a game, and they can tune into YSN as well.
So let me ask you this. Brainiac. You're telling me
That's going to be a primetime
you're
game.
telling me that they're not just going to watch it on this?
What, their phone?
Yep.
The football game?
Yep.
No.
They're not.
They're gonna be at home watching.
No.
It's gonna be a primetime game, like Billy said.
So if their son or
Did they
daughter
decide that
plays
yet?
that McNuggies, nobody cares. We don't care. The biggest thing is if they're at a football game, right? You're saying that's your argument here is if they're at a football game for their son or daughter in some capacity, they're not going to go to the game because they're going to watch Ohio State and watch their kid on YSN. I still disagree with that, and I own the freaking company. They're going to go to the game with the ticket they have, and they're going to watch Ohio State on this. That's what's going to happen.
If they can get into the game.
If they're
a parent, they're going to get in, dude.
Most likely, yeah.
Most likely.
In that scenario, yeah. That's what's going to happen. They're going to watch on their phones or
they're going to watch
DVR
on their
it.
phone. Yeah. Like this is not new. I mean, they're going to watch it on their phone at that game. You're going to see them go like this a lot during that game. That's what's going to happen. As much as I would love for people to, yes, stay at home and watch your son or daughter on YSN and then watch the Ohio State game on second screen or vice versa, the reality is we know what's going to happen. I don't want to say you're dumb if you don't realize that, but you're naive. You're naive if you're not going to your son or daughter's game and then watching Ohio State secondary on your phone from the stadium, right? If your daughter's had a game, soccer, name it, you're telling me that you would stay home and watch it on YSN and then watch second screen? Because I want this recorded so Carrie has it for evidence.
No, I'd be at the game. So I'd probably be announcing it. So yeah.
So funny.
What she deals with every day, man. Every day.
Yeah, how's she not an alcoholic? Like, that's my question.
Yeah.
Jeez, let's not get into that question.
She doesn't like to drink. So
all right, so that's one side. We're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna talk computer points or coaches' votes. We've heard a lot of complaints from the way that the coaches' votes went, because I think what people expected was coaches to go on Joe Itel and vote that way. It didn't seem to happen. So we're going to talk about that when we come back on the YSN Power Hour right after this, and proudly sponsored by Joe Dickey Electric.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is here, so it's all hands on deck to make sure your plan still meets your needs for 2020.
Call us today.
21
Good evening,
News.
and thank you for joining us.
Let's get right to our top
More
story
experienced reporters.
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
Telling more local stories.
We'll look at
Baby
efforts
boy
to
is
curb
recovering from a broken.
Around our
Good
valley.
Community in Niles,
We are here in Youngstown, right up.
Because you expect
It's important for everyone. No place like home.
more local news.
In Mercer County
before
Court.
they become life-threatening.
21 News is our Valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
That's right. Tonight on YSN, we've got a couple volleyball games for you. Canfield taking on Austin Town Fitch. And like those other guys like to say, it's absolutely free right here on the network too. So stick it, guys. We also have a great game for you, the OVAC semifinal. It is Beaver Local hosting East Liverpool in what is sure to be an unbelievable matchup down in the Beaver Dome. I will have the coverage for you. Both games approximately starting around 7 o'clock. So make sure you tune in. Anthony's got the one. I've got the other. We've got you covered. And tomorrow, EB and I will be over in Salem for the West Branch Salem game, our first ever, I shouldn't say first ever soccer game, but it's our first ever kind of under the bright lights with a lot on the line soccer game. EB, you and I thought we were going to announce it. We're really just going to be there in support of the announcers we have. We'll announce that tomorrow, no pun intended, who that's going to be. And we got a couple special guests that we're going to introduce you to YSN. So excited for not only all of that, but the week ahead could be another Wellsville volleyball game on Thursday, and then a ton of action for you Friday and Saturday. Paulie and I making sure that we're stamping these games as they go. Over 20, we know that will be on the network here this weekend. So another big weekend here on your sports network. Guys, when you look at computer points versus coaches' votes, I know we've got a couple coaches on the staff here that have cast votes before. How do you think that...
He's so pissed.
How do you think that things should go from here on out? Should we just keep relying on the computer points, or should we go to the coaches' vote for football? Paul, we'll start with you.
I like the computer point rankings because the computers they're not biased. I mean, you put the things in there and it spits out numbers for you. It's so much easier than the way it was this year. Is you have a lot of coaches, and they openly admit that there's a lot of coaches that say, you know, I don't know much about that team besides their name. And so then they look at their record and say, okay, they were 5-1, and okay, they've been a powerhouse in the past. I'm just going to vote them up. Or you have coaches that sit there who are like, well, listen, if I vote this team down a little bit, maybe I won't have to see them in the bracket. And so there's a lot of politicking that goes on when the coaches get involved in that.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
So yeah, I just we're doing all kind of crazy stuff here. I personally like it where you just put them in there and let them go, because from my understanding too is they're going to keep this going throughout the winter and the spring, to where coaches are going to get the vote and coaches are going to get to pick where they go in the brackets as well. So
wait a minute, say that one more time.
Yeah. So for soccer, for instance, teams got voted. All the coaches voted on who was 1 through 12. And then after that, they said, okay, the number 1 seed, where do you want to go on the bracket? Oh, we're going to go up here. Number 2, where are you going? Oh, we're going to go down here. And Billy can remember, this is how it used to be in baseball. Baseball used to be this way.
For a while too.
And basketball too. Like they said, okay, you're, Sebring, you're the number 1 seed. Where do you want to go on the bracket? Oh, we're going to the top. Okay, Springfield, you're number 2. Well, you're like, well, I don't want to see them. I'm going to go down here. 3 seed, where do you want to go? Well, I don't like Sebring. We're going down here too. And then the bottom half of that bracket gets loaded up until people have to start going up top.
So you pick your poison.
Yeah, that's how soccer was this year. They're going to, from my understanding, the ADs I've talked to, they said they're going to do that for basketball, and most likely they're going to roll that into spring as well.
Baseball.
And right now, what they've done is they've created like these super districts. So so they want to get, their goal is to get the 2 best teams to get out of the district and play each other in the regionals. So for instance, you think baseball, there's the Struthers district and there's the Niles district. And 9 times out of 10, those teams will meet either in the regional final or regional semifinal. What they're going to do now is they're going to put both those districts together and say, okay, these 24 teams are all together now. You vote on who's 1 through 24, and then you pick. You go in the top bracket or the bottom bracket. And then the winner of the top bracket and the winner of the bottom bracket moves on to the regional semifinal.
Dude, this isn't new. There's been certain districts that's done that for years. Like, I'm pretty sure a soccer district around here has done that for years, and basketball has done it for forever. So, I mean, it's not a new concept.
Chris Sigler saying the East District has done it for years, not entirely new. So it might be new to some areas, but I've heard of this before.
It's probably new to some of the schools around here just because it's a different, kind of years.
Our districts haven't had to do it around here for either a long time, like how it used to be, or they haven't done it that way in particular have never done it. So now they're going to make these like super districts, I guess you can say, and then move people from there. So their goal is to get to
girls soccer. I'm pretty sure that's the East District. They do it because there's just so many teams. Like you start to throw in the Canfields, the Salems, the West Branch, the Marlingtons, the Alliances. They just make a big super district.
Anything else, Paul?
I was done.
All right. Back to the topic at hand: coaches vote versus the computer points. Jamie, your thoughts?
I'm with Paul. I'm computer points all the way. I think when you add the coaches into it, I kind of like he said, they really don't know some of the teams. Like for us, even I was looking, I don't know that much about Geneva, the team we play this week. I don't know much about West Geauga, and I don't know much about the teams that they played. So it's kind of hard to decide where they should be ranked. And then another aspect to it, like you said, the politics. Some coaches don't like other coaches, so they're naturally just going to rank them lower. Like I can tell you, our coaching staff, they didn't like some other ones. So automatically, you're just going to rank them lower simply because you don't like them.
There's a lot of politics that goes into that stuff. Quinn, you've been a part of these conversations. How do you feel about computer points versus coaches' votes?
I mean, it's one of those things like computer points are probably the straight up easiest way to do it. It really is. And I mean, let's be honest here. When you're a coach, if you are the one getting slighted, you're going to be mad about it. It's just how it is. So the ones that complain are the ones that get screwed over, basically. Whereas the ones that don't really complain. But if in football, I mean, computer points are probably the easiest way to go.
McNuggies, you got a direct effect upstairs. Papa Bear, you think he likes the coach's vote, or do you think he'd be happy with the computer points?
I'm honestly not sure because I think I said this on the show, but every Friday or Saturday when he gets home from a game, first thing he does is he flips on FMJ and he's flipping through scores, he's flipping through highlights. So he kind of has some of an idea what's going on with teams that are in their district. So him specifically, I think he would like the coaches vote, but just overall in every district, not every coach is doing that. That's for sure. And I think for that reason, I'm with the three guys that went before me, Paul, Jamie, and Quinn in computer points. Or the best way to go.
Trying to get allies right now in case you get in a fight. EB.
I got water. I'm hydrating.
No, I'm a fan of the computer points, especially for football. And I think I'd love it even more if you went to an 8-week season and 16-game playoff, because then it gets real interesting. If you guys remember, what was it, not only 2 years ago where Springfield was, 9-1, and they didn't even get into the playoffs. So could you imagine them being a 9th seed? Or even going further back, like some of those McDonald Western Reserve teams, they were 9-1, 10-0, 8-2, which were great teams, and they didn't even make the playoffs. So you start to put them in, the 10, 11, 12 area of a playoff bracket, and they're strolling up to one of the top 4 teams. That's where I think it gets really fun, super interesting, and turns into DJ's Christmas.
Richie, your take.
Yeah, I'm with the computer points. I'll build up the alliance here. I think I love looking at Joe Itel's website every week. I think the calculation of strength of schedule, head-to-head, and win-loss record is perfect. There's no political bias involved, and you go out there and you get a 10 seed or whatever, you got to fight to win. There's nothing you could do about it. It's the way you played in the past. So there's nothing you could vote to get you a better seed. There's no way you could talk to other coaches to get a better seed. That's how you played in the regular season, so you got to deal with it.
Billy Mack on location. What do you got?
I think the biggest problem that I have with coaches voting is it's not even so much the politicking. It's the idea that these coaches are voting on teams they've never even seen, right? And they're taking the word on for something else. So like a lot of schools that are in our YSN district, they get a chance or can have a chance, an opportunity to watch these teams play. But on an everyday basis, I mean, when are you going to see Cuyahoga Falls play? Not if you're around here, if you're in the district. So it's just one of those things that they just don't have the opportunity to see these guys play. And should they? Should they be forced to watch these teams to kind of give them an honest vote? They ain't got time for that. They got time for, what's in front of them, and that's getting their team better. All the things that coaches do every day, which is 100 different things, then trying to watch film of the team they're playing against and trying to create a game plan for that. It's just too much. I think the computer points are the best way to utilize the playoffs.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I will challenge you in how are, and with all due respect, how are football coaches any more busy than other coaches, basketball coaches, baseball coaches, softball?
They all have the same problem. They all have the same problem.
But should there be computer points in the rest of the sports then?
I mean, why not? The problem with like computer points with like baseball is you might have a game scheduled this day and the schedule changes. So now you have to relay that information back to whoever's doing the computer points. I mean, you take like our team, Ursuline. We played like 5 games last year that was on our schedule. Or not last year, the previous year.
Right.
We had 5 games that we scheduled, whether it was rain. These guys are trying to get league games in, so it got canceled. So we ended up going here. We were going to go to play in this tournament, and we decided to go play over here against this team instead. So like it changes. Baseball schedules change so frequently. It's almost impossible to keep up with.
Well, if you're reporting them, that shouldn't change. I mean, you're just inputting numbers into a computer, and it outputs where you're ranked, right? Or am I missing something?
I mean, it just depends on how that process takes place, though. I mean, does it take place like when I was coaching, we had to put in our schedule a week before we were voting. So it's my job to basically, you know what I mean? Like, so if you're taking that information into a computer then you got to input records, and it's just a lot of moving pieces, I guess.
I can appreciate
I mean, I'm sure it's doable, but
I'd like to see computer points across all sports. I mean, if we're gonna do it, let's do it across all. Otherwise, what are we doing here? Because you're still gonna have I mean, you guys make great points with there's no politicking with computer points. It is what it is. There's no bias. There's no favoritism. There's no he beat me 2 years ago, so I'm going to put it to him now. But I'd like to see that in the other sports as well. Basketball still coach's vote, is it not?
Yeah. Basketball. So basketball, like there's a cutoff. You have to pretty much. I'm assuming like just what Billy said. You put in, your key wins, bad losses. Like I know when we were going through a couple of times, like you have to have it in by Friday night at midnight, and if you play Saturday, and it's an easy win, that goes. You can't put that into your win total. So. I'm not saying that it's happened or it hasn't happened, but you get some coaches who know who they play on that Saturday, and they say, "Well, we beat this team pretty easily. I'm gonna put them in on my win schedule." It's pretty standard for girls, boys. It's all the same, and then once it gets in, it's all done on the line now.
Can respect that. Quinn, you have anything to add with your mic up?
Nope. Eric said it.
I mean,
I saw him talking.
I know the one crazy thing too, if you think about how like we're talking about, we are in favor of the computer points. Sometimes it can backfire too. You take, for instance, you look at Division 5. Kirtland, everybody says is head and shoulders almost above everybody else, and they're a 1. If you look at computer points, though, they were a 6. They would have been a 6.
But they were in the playoffs.
Yeah, they'd still be in the playoffs.
That's the goal, man. It doesn't matter if you get 1 or 8 or 12, as long as you get in the playoffs.
Right?
Yeah, they wouldn't have hosted. Or not being
a 6, team, man. As long as we're in the playoffs.
I think a 6 would have hosted because I think Crestview is a 6, so they would have had 1 home game.
Well, if they would let that many teams in, yeah, I guess. I mean, it depends on how many teams they let in, right? If they let 8 teams in, 10 teams in, they'd be on the road. If they left 12, like they were going to, I guess they would be the last
home team,
right?
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting, 6 and 7, and that's not a favorable matchup. But if Kirtland's as good as they say they are, and it sure looks like they are, they shouldn't have any problems getting through the seed right below them. All right, guys, since it is Tuesday, I wanted to introduce something kind of off the beaten path. We're going to call it Off the Beaten Path Tuesday, when a question, not so much sports related, just to get your wheels turning a little bit. So my question today, being that Jurassic Park was on the other night, and I still have never seen the entirety of this stupid movie. I made it to the T-Rex scene, and we were having the conversation before we got on. No idea what happens the rest in Jurassic Park. So Billy and Paul could be lying to me for all I know. But my question is, what's a popular movie that's out there that maybe you guys haven't seen yet? Mac, any thoughts? I mean, do you have any movies that everybody's like, oh, you've had to see this one, and you're like, I've never seen that in my life?
To be honest, chances are probably not, because I'm a movie nerd. So, I have Netflix. I got some other devices that I'm not going to tell anybody about on air that I use to watch movies, and it's a free thing.
Are those the same ones Betos uses?
No, not even close.
Bootleg Betos.
But I'm always watching something, man. Like I said to you guys before, I don't really sleep too much, so like I'm always watching something. So
there's no movie out there that somebody's come up to you and be like, "Have you ever seen this movie?"
I'm sure there's movies out there that I've never seen. It's just if it was any good, I'd probably seen it.
All right, so you're that guy. Richie, go. We're going for you now.
I'm gonna switch up. I wouldn't say like a movie, but like a series. I've never seen The Office. So I've seen like 100 people talk about The Office, and I've never seen one episode. I've never seen like 10 minutes of it. So yeah, that'd be mine.
Oh my god! Have you watched Parks and Rec?
I'm dead inside.
No.
Oh, come on, bro. That's a good one.
Uncultured.
What's Parks and Rec?
Oh no!
Good, man.
Richie, don't feel bad. I have never seen either one of those two either, so don't worry about it.
Well, Paul, how old is Paul?
Paul's
the man's
still
a study
watching
hall
Family
teacher.
Ties.
Yeah.
Silver spoons, get it right.
My
Oh
goodness.
God.
All right, well, we can do TV series or movie. That's fair. Mac, still TV series? Nothing?
I'm kind of a same scenario, man.
Gosh.
I got nothing but time on my hands.
No comment.
Yeah.
Quinn?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Richie. I haven't seen The Office. I haven't seen Parks and Rec. I haven't seen Star Wars.
Oh, come on, man.
Oh, my
Like the
goodness.
original one?
Any of them.
Oh, no.
I'm not into
My,
that.
my dad, if he heard that, my dad would drive 22 minutes and punch you in the face.
He could come up here. I'll tell him, hey, I've never seen it. Like, just haven't. I'm not into that sort of thing. It's just boring. It seems boring.
Oh, here's
Boring.
Kate putting Billy on the spot. Unless it's a movie I want to see, he won't watch those. Here we go, Billy. Have you ever seen The Notebook?
Yeah,
Damn it. All right.
stupid movie.
Oh,
On to McNuggies. What's out there that you haven't seen yet?
There's one movie and one TV series. The movie would have to be Avengers Endgame. I've only seen the ending fight scene. I'm going to be honest with you.
I don't watch any of those either.
Why would you watch the end?
It's the best
I
part.
don't know. It is the best part. Now my brother showed
How
it
would
to
you
me
know?
'cause
You
he
didn't see
saw
the
it.
beginning of the movie.
You don't even have to.
It's like you in Jurassic Park. I've only seen a certain part. I haven't seen the rest of it. And then TV series, this is going to get as much hate as Richie and Quinn not watching The Office, but Stranger Things. I've never watched it.
I've never watched that either.
All right. Thank God.
It's pretty good.
Everybody my age watches it. And when I say I haven't watched Stranger Things, they want to punch me in the face right then and there.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Pass.
That's what my brother and my mom says.
EB?
I'm sure there's a ton of movies, but I guess the big one as far as a series, I haven't seen Tiger King yet. But I guess it's supposed to be okay or kind of funny. The only
How does
question
Greg Burbick never seen Star Wars?
Because he doesn't know how to operate
Thank
a
you.
VCR or a DVD player.
Hey,
If
don't be
it's not a
bashing our
cow
sponsor.
or a tractor, Greg has no idea how to use it. Straight up.
Don't bash our sponsors.
DJ, have you made it to the part in Jurassic Park where the dinosaur sneezes on a kid?
I can understand it.
I don't think so. I made it to the part where the T-Rex gets out because Newman shuts down all the gates and they push the Jeep over the edge. And
So a little bit further, like you'll have to get in further to it, but they're like sitting up in a tree and a Bronchiosaurus or whatever the hell it's called sneezes on a kid, and once you get to that point, I'll explain the rest of the story.
okay. Jamie, you're up.
I always kind of thought I was a movie buff. I mean, I've seen a lot because I usually do that with my friends. I'm like, oh, have you seen this? And they're like, no. But my girlfriend trying to watch Disney movies, literally any Disney movie, I've literally never seen them. Like, she just names these all. I have never heard of them. But more popular, I've never seen Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, that's the name.
It's a great
name.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good.
Always on TV.
So, what Disney movies that she told you?
Here we go.
There you go.
Oh Lord.
You're right in McDougie's wheelhouse.
We're right in my wheelhouse.
What is
We
it?
know those are the only
Hocus
movies you can go watch in a theater.
It's like Halloween time. So like Hocus Pocus,
Oh,
the
I hate that
Halloween
movie.
House, any of those. I've
that's
never
horrible.
seen them.
I hate Hocus Pocus. I hate
Why?
it because it's stupid.
It's a Halloween movie.
I'm not a
doesn't
Halloween
matter.
fan to begin with, but Hocus Pocus is dumb, like just dumb. And my wife wants to watch it every year.
That's so disrespectful.
It's
The
stupid.
only Halloween movie you ever need to watch is the Charlie Brown Halloween movie. That's
All
the
right.
only Halloween movie you need to watch.
That's
That's the only one you're
Okay.
allowed to watch.
Yeah.
Correct.
Muncie, what movies have you not seen or series?
I mean, like I was saying, Richie and Quinn, I've never watched those, The Office and all those things. But the one movie series, because like I like watching a lot of movies too, and I watch a wide variety. But I've never seen any of the Mission Impossibles. I've never seen any of those, and I would say, some of those Marvel
Sorry,
movies
Shauna.
too. I've never seen any of those.
You've never seen the Marvel movies?
No, I never.
None of
watched
them.
any them.
Me too, Paul. Me too.
They're awesome.
So Olivia has seen every Jurassic Park, and
Oh, yeah.
she's never seen a Marvel movie.
No, I mean, we watched the original Batmans with like Michael Keaton and stuff.
That's not Marvel. That's not Marvel.
I know.
It's not Marvel.
And why would you subject her to Michael Keaton's Batman?
Dude, they love those. The Arnold.
That's
Schwarzenegger
terrifying.
And all those. They love all those older Batmans, but like we've never seen any of the new Marvel movies at all.
All right.
I take that back. We
Paul's
did
too busy announcing the movies for his daughters.
I do take that back. That we did watch Wonder Woman because Avery likes Wonder Woman. So
not Marvel.
Yes, it is.
DC. Wait.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
I thought that was
What's
DC
Captain
Comics.
Marvel is.
It's DC. Yeah.
Wonder Woman's.
Yeah,
DC.
Yeah.
Still a good. It's still a good one. Still a
Wonder
good one.
Woman's good.
But yeah, none of that stuff. Never watched them.
Well, you need to get Disney Plus for like a free trial or something, and just let the girls run wild on Marvel because it's phenomenal.
We have Disney.
Worth it.
You
They don't
have
watch
Disney
those.
Plus and you don't watch Marvel?
No, they watch all the Disney movies, Bambi, Snow White, all that stuff. What do they want to
Then
watch?
you go watch the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
What do I want to watch those for? What I mean, what's?
Because they're good.
They're good, man. They're good.
Bunch of
I don't know. Why would you watch a movie ever?
I can watch a movie I want to see, and those are movies I care to see. Like I don't care to see about superheroes and stuff.
You
I
ever
wasn't into
tried to
comic
watch
books
them?
and stuff like that. I just really that wasn't my thing. So those movies don't appease my taste of music or movies. So whatever.
If you have one movie to watch, Paul, and you're just trying to burn time, what are you watching?
Major League.
Yeah.
That's
Ooh, Boondock Saints.
Richie up here.
Boondock Saints is a good one. I do like that one too. But yeah,
I bet you would like Marvel movies. They're not what you think they are.
Very true.
They're kid friendly, and they're also adult friendly. It's like watching. I mean, if there's one cartoon that I'll watch every single time with the girls and never complain, it's gonna be Toy Story, because it's just enough of the adult
Yeah.
humor to get you through it. It's not constantly like. I swear to you guys. I swear to you, Dora the Explorer. Never ever want to watch it again.
I'd like
never
to
want to
toast
see
it with
it.
that backpack.
What's
I
that?
mean, I'll tell you right now, it's very appeasing to an 8-year-old. Because I mean, I love that show when I was 8.
Dora.
Please go down this rabbit hole.
I watched Dora.
Be careful where you're
past
shoveling, buddy.
tense.
Please go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah, Dora and her backpack and boots. Yeah,
I don't watch it now, but I'm not gonna shy away from the fact that I used to watch it.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Do you have a backpack of Dora?
No, I do not have a backpack of Dora.
Did you ever?
No,
All right, we're just checking. Just want to clarify that.
all my backpacks are generic black.
What about Handy Manny? Did you watch Handy Manny? That's
Yes,
another
I
big
did.
one right now. Okay.
Yes, I did.
I mean, I can't. I mean, when I was 8, I watched what, Ninja Turtles. I think that was one of the ones.
Oh yeah.
Ninja Turtles.
it's
Yeah.
just funny.
They
The
didn't-
voice, the people that get to do the voices for those, like Handy Manny, was the guy from that '70s show,
Yeah, it was. I almost said
Wilder
Sven.
Valderrama.
Yeah, but that's not everybody knows him by. It's Fez.
Yeah, Fez.
Fez.
You know, and then like backpack and Dora the Explorer is Rosie Perez.
Oh yeah, my mom's chiming in. Ghostbusters.
That was a
The
good
Real
one.
Adventures of Ghostbusters, or the Real Ghostbusters, or whatever that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting to me that mine, and this is the one that people still get on me about. I've never seen The Godfather. Never
I
seen
haven't
it.
either.
No intentions of seeing it. I don't.
Same.
Again, that's my
Or
thing.
Game of Thrones.
I haven't seen Game
Oh,
of Thrones.
I'm telling you, greatest TV series of all
I-
time. I swear to God.
I
I
hopped
would
on
agree.
I hopped on it for season 8.
Nah, I watched that and
Not gonna lie.
Walking Dead. I went with Walking
'Cause
Dead.
everybody hyped that show up so much. So I'm like, you know what? Let's watch it.
Never seen that,
So-
Quinn. Never seen.
Have you seen Walking Dead?
I haven't missed an episode.
See, Paul, I think you
Did
can
you
get behind
did you
Walking Dead.
did you see Sopranos? Did you watch The Sopranos, Paul?
Absolutely, of course.
Okay. See, absolutely,
I
but
just can't believe. Yeah, you said that so with such a definite like why the hell what?
conviction there.
Never
Because it
seen a
was-
Marvel movie, but yeah,
I mean-
Sopranos, chalk it up.
The Sopranos was huge when it came out on HBO. I mean, that
Yeah,
was like,
1990.
well, sorry, I'm the oldest one on the panel here.
No, what was that? Late 90s?
It was late '90s.
Late 90s.
Because I remember being on the cover of TV Guide, and I just looked at it. And my dad was all amped up about it. I was like, "This is stupid." He's like, "Well, you can't watch it
it's-
anyway."
Yeah, I think it was like 99 and then in the 2000s. So
Yeah, so
I like mob.
20 years ago.
interesting enough. All right, it's time for our G Bourbon Farms. What's your beef? We will start with Paul like Quantum Leap.
I bet he was a big MASH guy.
Mash. Let's
My dad was a big MASH guy.
let's start with Paul with his beef. Go ahead, Paulie.
I don't know. Come back to me.
All right, Jamie, you're up.
I don't know. Come back to me.
All right.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
All
I'm
right.
kidding. I guess I'll beef with Paul on this one. The Marvel movies, man, I'm telling you, you got to get on them. Have you at least tried them, Paul?
Nope.
You got to try them. I promise. The one movie that I'll always flip on is Spider-Man: Homecoming. They are amazing. Got to do the Marvel movies, Paul.
You a Spider-Man guy, James?
They made like 15 Spider-Mans. I mean,
Yeah, but these ones are actually good. The other one, the Amazing Spider-Mans, those were trash compared to the new ones. I love those ones.
And they're all linked together.
Paul's got a Tobey Maguire poster on his
Beat the
wall,
time.
so he would cut it out after Toby.
was that the first one?
That was the one. That's your Dream Boy, yeah.
Yeah.
I watched that. The first one I remember watching because it had Kristen Dunst in it.
Sure.
Yeah.
First Dunst, but we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Paul's not
small
worried
hands.
about his name. He's
Jeez.
about her name, I should say. EB, what is your beef, sir?
I got two beefs. One's with McNuggies yesterday. You told LeBron to do it off the court.
Oh,
No. Hear it out before you sit here, because first of all, McNuggies, he does do it off the court. If you've never noticed, I promise to go up in Akron. If you never noticed, he held bike-a-thons for kids to give them school supplies, and he'd bring in local celebrities to Akron all the time. He is a perfect example of someone who takes care of his hometown. So you are entitled to your opinion, but not your facts. Number two is people who bash female sports. Someone said it. Well, I'm never going to watch girl sports because they suck. I totally encourage you to come to not only one of my Salem practices, even though you can't because of COVID, or just check out some of these local girls that we have around here, because this place is flooded with talent. And finally, we're putting some light on it. Dude, don't knock it until you actually watch it.
Respect, McNuggies. It better not be about LeBron.
Oh no, it's going to be about EB for taking that completely the wrong way. I didn't mean as a community man. I meant, behind the scenes and in the locker room. I'll just leave it at that. As like a teammate.
Quinn.
I've got three today.
Oh boy.
I've got three.
Guarantee I'm one of those.
All personal ones. So number one, myself. I left my keys in the car. That was a great little incident this morning. The fantastic job by the East Palestine Police Department too to open it up. So thanks for that. Appreciate it. Second one, why on earth is the iPhone 12 so freaking expensive? That's my other one. And three, all those tests you have to take to coach, they're so long you can't even click off to like go do something else. You have to sit there and watch and keep clicking through. That irritates me too. I hate them all.
Quick question for you before we get to Richie. You said this morning, how long were you sitting out in the parking lot until I showed up?
About a half hour.
No, that's not bad.
But I was occupied with watching someone break into my car for me. So.
Yeah, well, what time did that happen? And how did you lock your keys in your car if there was no way to get into HQ?
My doors automatically lock. So shut the door. Yeah.
Dynamite Quinn.
Isn't this a new car, though?
No, that's my other one.
Oh, okay. I say, because some of the newer cars, they won't actually lock if your key's in the car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Richie.
I'd say the inability to find high school rosters. And I appreciate you, Paul, for getting the rosters to us each and every week. That's greatly appreciated. But I've been searching for multiple teams' rosters for weeks now, whether that be their own high school site. I don't trust Max Preps because they're really never right with that. Local newspapers, whatever. Nobody seems to have visiting rosters outside of Youngstown. So that would be my beef, is that it's so hard to find these rosters if it's not your home team.
Hold on, Paul gets you rosters? Quinn, why doesn't he give us rosters?
Yeah, I don't know.
I've never gotten a roster from Paul.
Paul, I'm going to need that roster.
Paul helps me out a
Paul
lot.
just helps out Richie. That's all.
Paul,
Ask
it's your beef.
Ask and you shall receive, boys. When
Hey,
you don't
Paul.
ask and you keep your mouth shut.
Paul, I asked you to be inside, and you couldn't even get me inside. I don't care about the roster.
Well, there you go.
Paul, be a leader. Do your job. I mean, pretty simple. Doesn't that fall into your job description? Hey, you're going here. I'll provide you with everything.
Not rosters.
Yep.
Hey, Paul's always back. I appreciate him.
That's a yes, Paul, by the way. But continue.
Yeah. I thought you were going to Billy.
Do you have something good?
I mean, I guess a little bit. I mean, my
right,
one
well,
thing
good.
is I wish people would know what the hell they're talking about before they open up their mouths and say people need to do their jobs, because you don't know what my job is, so keep your mouth shut about it. And two is some of these schools right now, like just talking about, we don't know if we can fit you in there, and we'll see what we can do. And I mean, it's the playoffs. You know that we need to get there and cover these schools, and you're not letting us in. It's kind of getting a little discouraging.
Billy Mack.
I think we all know what my beef is today. My beef is this clown running around my house here and taking 30 seconds to do half of an inch of a I don't know what, weed whacking something, and then he smokes a cigarette, and then he goes back to it for 30 seconds and smokes another cigarette. I mean, obviously he gets paid by the hour.
I'm after Paul's job. I want to do it.
My gosh. We're gonna have beef with these two right here, right on the right side. Not Richie. We'll narrow it down.
Richie, join the club. Come on, man. Let's go.
My beef is kind of the same as Paul's beef. We got a lot of games this weekend. We're trying to dial in, and reality is if we're having trouble getting into these press boxes, and there's only one that I know about so far, then we should have some backing from the powers that be in the athletic department. We are and should be the chosen ones in terms of your media representation. Everybody gets one, especially if you're on the road. So I'm a little bit puzzled and a little head scratcher about how we're not allowed in. It's what I understand is a brand new press box, and I'm not holding anybody necessarily under the accountability from the host school, but I do have some questions as to how you have a new press box, and even with COVID options in, you're not permitting media to be there unless they're outside the press box. So a couple questions I have, but that's going to be my beef, and it will probably cost one school a significant amount of money, given the fact that they're not going to be able to attend with as many fans or parents as they should. So, and also cancer sucks, by the way. That's another one of my beefs. So, you see Patty Strong behind me, a close member of my family, just recently diagnosed with cancer. Patty, and she's in our thoughts and prayers. Mom, we love you, and you're gonna get through this. So, if there's anything that we can do, as always here as a company, as a team, we're going to do it. So we love you so much. You're going to fight through this just like the warrior you are, and you'll come out the other side and be the champion that we know you are as well. So again, love you. Before we go, a little good news we want to pass along. Yesterday, we had one of our own head out to foreign grounds, as these gentlemen want to. I'm trying to pull up the text message and make sure I get it right. From Britt Taylor. Britt Taylor and the prospects from Youngstown, very familiar on this network from their work in Struthers, Ohio at Scene Park. It is the perfect game in Toledo, and bringing home the 18U Ohio Valley title was the Youngstown prospects. Top teams from Ohio, Michigan, and Indiana, and the boys from Youngstown brought it home. So congratulations to the Ohio Valley Fall Classic champions, the Youngstown prospects, led by head coach Britt Taylor and his awesome staff. Congratulations, boys. Way to bring it back home. Way to finish the year on a positive note. And again, if we had a hat, we'd tip it to you on this beautiful Tuesday. Make sure you get out and enjoy the day, guys, because I'm not sure there's many of these left. It started out as a cloudy day, and according to Storm Tracker 21 and the app, it's going to stay like this the rest of the night. So go out, enjoy the nights, and if you're in, make sure you enjoy some volleyball right here on YSN. Beaver Local, East Liverpool, Austin Town, Fitch, and Canfield, all here on the network tonight. Say so long, everybody.
Adios.